Hello there. Come here, baby. Okay. Okay, I think it's live. Okay, so it's like really slow, so because it is just kind of acting up here. But hi, I know that it's been quite a while since I have been on here. A lot's been going on. Hey, wait a minute. I want to see you for a second. Bring it this way. Can I see you? Okay. And but so what was I saying? Still have ADHD. Um, and actually, so we have been in doing a lot of things, but there's been like a lot of areas that have provided opportunities for growth and but let me start with the good. I mean, it's all good, I guess. Um, but so I don't know if we were doing this channel when we started when we first started working with, oh my goodness, what is this? With the shelter out in Modesto, but our first pool was with a dog named Icarus and her 8 puppies, and we still have Icarus. Actually, she has been adopted, and she is now a resident dog. But her puppies have all been rehomed. Then we had Lady come in, who's also been adopted. We just saw her the other day. Curtis was returned to family. So I want to, that's right. Okay, so sorry. If you are new and this is your first time or your first video, then I would highly suggest you or recommend you going and seeing some of the other videos, because then you'll understand that I tend to get a little scatterbrained because I have ADHD. Not, as just, that's just one of the things I battle with. But I promise that in some way or another, everything will be, I hope, related. Can I see that one right there? That one, that's, yeah, please. Um, oh, no, just that one. No, because it was eating something. I just want to see that one. Okay, let me see. What do you say? Hi. Oh, so this is what we've been doing. We have been saving moms from shelters. Wait a minute. I know I was going to talk about Curtis. I know I was going to talk about Curtis, but um, I just saw these and I just couldn't help but share them with you. And so hopefully, if at any point neighbors of mine that tend to have this, I don't know, this unjustified or unfounded thought or presumption that I am a breeder, I actually, close your ears real quick. I actually am very against breeding. I believe that until there is a control on this animal overpopulation, that breeding needs to be ceased for a minute. Here, baby. But I also love little babies. Little babies. But I do not agree with assisting in any way in those babies coming into the world. So then, hey, don't beat up on your sister. So then where do they come from? Well, they come from the shelters. And I'm fortunate to live in a county that doesn't kill for space. Granted, I have my own opinion on, the what they do euthanize for, because they don't like the word kill, although that's exactly what it is when you murder innocent and healthy animals, because a behavior issue is not a reason to euthanize. It is our duty as animal welfare or professionals to provide that animal with all support, love, and tools and time that it needs in order to become adoptable. That's just my opinion. But we don't kill for space, which also has its own downfalls to it. But that's not what we're not gonna go down that. What we're gonna say is that Unfortunately, there, outside counties and with, in the do kill for space. False that doesn't happen, and it's not a marketing campaign. It's not, don't do that to, like, get people to come adopt them so they can make, that's not, I mean, I think so. And actually the numbers don't support that. And it's really but puppies as young as what you just saw, if and younger, um our shelters are forced to have to make difficult decisions. But we have been, grateful and lucky to have, come in contact with shelters that are willing to rescues that aren't necessarily their geographical location. And so that goes back to the whole Curtis. So is a shepherd male, the Stanislaus shelter. He was, when we got him, he was reported to us to be like a 6-year-old shepherd or something like that. And he was due for euthanasia. He actually came on the same day that Daisy and Nick and their puppies came. About them in a second. But so anyway, so Curtis was with us. He was a great boy. He was really kind of quiet. But he got out of the yard a couple times, and it was weird because he would sit at the gate. It was sad because he would sit there and he would just be like, waiting by the gate. And then the times that he got out, he was just around town. And then when we found, hey, what's going on, man? Like, come on, shoveled back over. Come to find out, long story short, one day I was talking to one of the staff over there, and she let me know that his previous owner had came into the shelter, and she said that provide they rescue information, but that if I get in touch with her, that her contact information. And well, that's kind of odd. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, if he came stray, and now there's this owner, why not? I mean, of course. So anyway, so I don't speak Spanish, but my little brother does. Thank God for that. And thank God for Google, Translate. But it come to find out, this lady had, I guess, been to the shelter. There wasn't anybody that spoke Spanish, I guess, is what I was getting from it. And if that's not right, if the shelter's seen this, please, I'm not trying to, I'm just, this is what I know. Oh, that's all I can say. Anyway, so sister, no. And so she said that she had been to the shelter and that nobody was able to help her, and that she had been looking for her dog for like a month, right? And for more than a month. And because he was with us for a month, and I guess he was at the shelter for like almost a month or something like that. I'm not really sure that long. It who's not to a shelter that is forced to make those decisions. It was pretty, a short stay at the shelter before his time up for him to be euthanized. And so anyway, so she was like, like, his name's Rocky. She sent me all these videos and these pictures, and I was like, well, it kind of looks like him, but now granted, he looked, close to what the shelter had thought in age, but she was like, no, he and I was like, damn, like, friggin', like, I don't know, like, if that's him, then he really aged at the shelter, and that is possible with, his cortisol levels. I mean, sky high. I mean, he very well could have just been like, stressed the fuck out. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that, but so anyway, so we agreed to take him back to Modesto. She was like, I'll pay you to bring him back, and I was like, no, don't worry about it, like, because I would hope that, if I ever found myself in that situation, that somebody would be willing to help me. And I have found myself in that situation and not been as, lucky to have, people that were willing to help out or whatever. But anyway, and so that's what's wrong, is I keep on trying to fix this one. Okay. And there we go. Okay. Anyway, so my brother actually was him and my nephew, me and my mom and Curtis up to, well, we took him back to Modesto, and I remember he, like, the whole way there, it was like, I don't know, like, I know that dogs are dogs, right? And I know that they don't necessarily understand what we say, but I really believe that they can feel our energy and that they're not stupid, right? And so, like, I mean, haven't you ever seen Homeward Bound? It was like he knew. Okay, I mean, he knew, and it wasn't because of the words, right? So anyway, so we're in the car, and he was like, oh, wait, let me back it up, sorry. Burp. So he actually he went out to a foster, to a lady that had been on the chat about him while he was in the shelter, and I guess she had went to the shelter to get him, but the day that she went, she, like, literally just missed him coming to us. And so we stayed in contact, and and we needed to vet him first and see, what it was like. And so after that, it was around New Year's that we met her in Fairfield, and she took him. And that lasted about a night because she said that he attacked her cats, and she was just like, he needs to get that, he needs to get out of here, blah, blah, like freaking out. And I was like, well, I can't just drop what I'm doing and run to Fairfield. I don't have a vehicle. I had to wait for my brother to get offline, and she's just like, going crazy. Anyway, so she comes and she brings him back to me, which is weird because he was around cats here. We had cats at the time. There were indoor and outdoor cats, and he never messed with them. I'm not calling her a liar. I'm just simply saying that, that's not how it was here. Then she said that she couldn't get him to go in the crate, and that she couldn't, she was just, she was older and disabled, and she was like trying to push him into the crate, and he wasn't going in the crate, and she couldn't get him in there, and he was going to kill the cats and all this crap. And when he got back here, my brother literally unloaded his crate, and we set it up, and I didn't even like tell him to go in it. I just like went to go say goodbye to my brother, and he on his own walked right into his crate and turned around, lay down, and just was like, and I was just like, oh bud, it's okay, you're here now, you're home, it's okay. And then and then we I got the news when I was talking to her about the whole what had happened. I was sharing with the shelter staff. So now, so we are on the road to Modesto, and I'm texting the lady, and I'm letting her know, we're on our way. It's about a 3-hour trip, and 3.5 hours. She was like, okay, thank you so much, and she was like, she was at work or something. And so when we get to Modesto, I kid you not, like as soon as we got like into, like, I want to say the town limits. I mean, it's way different than from over here than, but he had been sleeping the whole ride. But as soon as we got there and the smells were, we rolled down the window, and we were like, so I was smoking a cigarette, and I was like getting all excited, and he was like, jump in the front seat, jumping over here, just looking over here. And it was like, do you know where you're at, buddy? And he was putting his nose out the window. Maybe he didn't want to smell the smoke. I don't know. But no, he knew. And so we were going through town, and it was kind of, it's like I said, it's way different. And he just kept getting, the closer we kept getting to where what the GPS was saying where we were going was, he was just like kind of, he knew. And so I told my brother to call her because I didn't want to text it. I wanted to make sure that she knew. And so I told him to ask. And so he asked her, if you don't mind, I would appreciate you staying, in the house. Don't come out yet, because we're not calling you a liar, but with just like the possibility of that age gap, and maybe maybe this just looks like your dog, and that's why you want it. I don't know, but let me just see how his reaction is, right? Because if you want him and is a good fit, then hey, we're all for that too. But it's just, we wanted to know what we're doing. Was it a reunion? Was it a placement? We didn't know. And she said that's fine, okay. And so we get to the street, and at first I couldn't see it because the numbers weren't like they were had peel off or whatever. Like literally every other house had its numbers but that house. And so I kind of figured that was the house. But I was walking him. I went to go like walk him down the street and was like, well, let's just see, what he does. He went right to his house and waited outside the gate. Like, he sat there very calmly. And he looked at me, and he just kind of just had like this very serious look on his face, because Curtis was a goofball, but he was also he has an old soul, and was very calm and serious, but not like this was a whole nother series. And he was like waiting and waiting, and that's what I told my brother to call her and let him know to come out. And so the gate opens, and his body kind of like freezes up a little bit, and I'm like, oh no. And they walk out, and the mom is carrying this little baby that's like a year old, and or she's like, oh, like 2 years old, I think she is. And and the baby starts wiggling in her arms, and she's like, Rocky, and the mom's like, it's Rocky. And I was like, oh. And he got all excited. He got up and he started trampling and like getting ready, like, oh my goodness. But he didn't go into the yard, and he waited. And then the dad came up, the husband came up, and he ran up to him, and he kneeled down, and he put his hand out, and Rocky put his hand on his hand, or his paw on his hand, and then he did, they did it like again. And then they like kind of like put their heads together like this, and he's crying, and he's like, like telling him like, I love you, like, where were you, like. And Rocky is just, I mean, he's completely like, just, he jumps around, he's going in circles, he's freaking licking the dude, he's pushing the dude, he's freaking like all up in it. And then he goes up to the lady, and he's blah, 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 blah. And then the little girl gets put down, and he stops, and he goes up to her, and he just licks her ever so gently. And he just goes in circles around her and licks 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 her. And she just grabs him, and she's pulling on him, and she's just kissing him and like just grabbing him, and he's just in heaven, and his tail's going, and he's just like, like he was home. I mean, like there was no denying that. And it was like, and and the guy is there saying something, and I was just like, I don't understand what you're saying, but you're welcome. Like, like it's okay. So my brother's doing kind of like the back and forth talking for us, because I was, Google Translate is not always that reliable. And so basically, I guess there's in Modesto what these I guess peoples have a role that are called canvassers. And again, this is what I'm learning. So if I'm wrong, please don't, I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying. And I guess they go door to door, and they check to see if dogs are current with their license. And if they're not, then they're picked up. That, along with the front house, because the family lived in the backyard, I believe. Like, I don't know. I didn't see the backyard. I don't know if it was a trailer. I don't know if it's a room. I don't know exactly what it is. But I do know that when Rocky/Curtis was taken to the shelter, he wasn't a stray. He was in his own yard. I read the animal control reports. I submitted a public records request because at first the shelter hadn't released that to me. And when I had asked for it, they kind of were just like, eh. And so I submitted a public records request directly to the county. And in the AC's own words was that the dog was in the yard on the lawn, laying down, and and he had gotten a call or something like that. So I don't know if it was the canvasser or if it was the person that lives in the front house, but either way, it was on the property that he lives on, and that he lured him with treats out of the yard and loaded him up into his truck because he's so friendly. And that's what the guy also said too. Like, that's the problem, is that he's too friendly. Like, he just goes off with anybody. Everybody's a friend. And I was like, poor baby. But the family is a young couple. The dad works nights, the mom works days, and they have a little girl that is 2. She's about the same age, as Rocky, and they've grown up together. They're brother and sister, and so like the parents are just they're here. I'm guessing that they're undocumented, but they're here working, making an honest living, and just trying to take care of their family. And sometimes having to do that swing shift, Rocky should have been okay to be in his front yard. He wasn't wandering the streets. He wasn't in somebody else's yard. He wasn't attacking anybody. He wasn't bothering anybody. He was sunbathing in what was supposed to be his yard. and he was tricked, and he was taken to the shelter, and he almost lost his life. It's not okay. I don't know if that's was the intention. I don't know if, if known the whole time that that house was in fact his home, and that was as simple as going to the backyard to get to, his owners. I don't know. I can't speak on that, but I can say that it was. I would be devastated if I had found myself in that situation, and it was just a little more effort, and with the tax money that us taxpayers pay, you would think that if we can have canvassers, then those canvassers should at least go the extra mile into finding the owner before taking a dog to a shelter, especially when that shelter is, on a regular forced to do things like euthanizing for space. Because he's an amazing dog. I mean, there's no doubt about him being able to have been adopted had he had just had some, time. But me and my partner were talking, and it was like, when he was with us, he was such a good boy. But it was like, for some reason, it was like he was like, thanks, guys, it's been great, but gotta go. Like I'm late for a real important date, and it was like he was trying to get home to his family, and it really, it it really gave me a sense of pride and a sense of accomplishment. And I felt grateful and thankful for having the opportunity to reunite them. And I got to see pictures of him when he was a baby, and this family. I mean, every moment is documented, like little things, like how I'm with my dogs, like, and it's so beautiful, and he's so loved. And and it was a relief, because I remember on Christmas, on New Year's, I remember I had taken pictures of him and Nick, and they had and Daisy and Icarus and all them, and they had like these little New Year's little headbands on, right? And I was looking at them one night when everybody was just kind of chilling out, and my girls have never. I mean, they got locked up like one time overnight, but or Petunia's been locked up like twice overnight, but I'm there the next morning to get them. But what I'm saying is that from the moment that I got Bella, when she was like 5 weeks old, I found her. And from the moment that the girls were born, they've only ever known me and my partner and our home and our family and our kids. They've only ever known love, and like everything that they do is the most amazing thing in the world. And I couldn't imagine my dog ending up 3 hours away. And I couldn't imagine my dog being, you know, just taken like that. I mean, my dogs get out, and that's why they ended up, at the shelter before. But I'm on it. I'm in contact with them. I literally have like pulled up as they're, driving off, and it's like, but I'm on it because those are my babies. And even those last, those moments, anytime that they're not with you, you're worried and you're stressed out, and you're just like, oh my God, like you have to have them back with you. And so, my heart goes out to people that have to deal with that. And so, what I was saying is that I felt really like in that moment, like really sad for Icarus and Daisy and Nick and Curtis and Lady and all them, because it was like, is nobody looking for you? Like nobody's has a stocking, your name on it. Nobody's, missing. Like, I mean, they're all amazing dogs. Um, I couldn't, broke my heart. And to find out that Curtis or Rocky actually had somebody that was people that loved him, and he in fact did have a stocking with his name on it, and that was hung up even though he wasn't there, because they were keeping the faith that he had just ran off or was stolen, and that he would be back. And they were right, because he did come back, and I'm really grateful to have had the chance to have been able to do that. Now, Nick and Daisy. Who is this Nick and Daisy? So we read a post on these dogs that had come into the shelter that were very bonded, Nick and Daisy. They are Pharaoh Hound mixes. And Daisy was very pregnant, and she ended up going into labor, complications. And rushed into emergency C-section. 5 of her puppies died. Um, and it's not really, it's very rare when that you are able to place them. I mean, I guess, moms and babies together, let alone, a whole family. But I mean, I personally, for myself, I couldn't even, I'm sorry to say, like, there's probably, people that are going to have an opinion on this, but if I can't save the mom and the puppies, then I'm not going to just save the puppies. Like, that's pretty fucked up to have her go through giving birth and then almost dying. And I mean, even if she didn't almost die, but to spit those things, I have kids. Like, you're going to have me give birth and then just leave me here to die? Like, I don't think so. Like, and I don't want no part of that. But, but Nick, he's very attached to her. And they were saying, the shelter notes were saying that while she was in surgery, he was like really distressed. Well, I couldn't imagine, what life would be like for him if, if they were to be separated. So we brought them on over, and I am completely in love with Nick, and he is my guy, and I love him so much. And fortunately, because they did come with zoo strep, 2 of the puppies passed away within the first like couple days that they were here. But let me see. Butterscotchy. Can you see Butterscotchy? Butterscotchy. Butterscotch. Babe, where's Butterscotchy? Let me see. I think she's over there, but let me see him. That's not Butterscotchy. Let me see him. Oh, Butterscotch. Here, let me see. Butterscotch. Buddy. This is Butterscotch. This is This is Daisy Mays and Nick's baby. Nichols is over there sleeping. She wants the Doritos. Isn't she a beauty? Oh God, I love this girl. Oh, what you girl? You broke my headphone, girl. But that's okay. Excuse me. I know it. I love you. Okay. I love you. Oh. That's Butterscotch. But and Nick is on my bed, completely like passed out, and my bed is a mess. My room's a mess. But so I'm not really gonna show you guys, but you can find pictures of him and videos of him, and I'll do a live feed with him actually today when we go for his run. But and Daisy May is right there. Actually, there's Daisy May, right there, right there. She was actually adopted, but but returned to us because even though it's weird because the shelter said it, the people said it, but I don't see it because, like I said, Daisy right there and Nick's way over there. So I mean, I guess at the end of the day, they're pretty bonded. And they're kind of like, I guess, any married couple that have some miles on them, not necessarily want them all up in their face, but like just knowing that they're here. I mean, Nick's completely like on me. Like, this is the farthest he's ever been away from me. And he's literally just like 10 feet that way. But they're doing really good. And they're amazing. And Icarus is actually oh, just right on. Okay, I'm just gonna show you. Can you see? That's Icarus. Oh no, I know it's a mess, and I'm too embarrassed to show you guys. But Icarus is right there on the ground, and she's an amazing dog. She is so eternal. Actually, because Daisy had wow, I'm looking a mess. Actually, because because Daisy had the C-section, and then they had taken her uterus out or whatever the hell they did. Her milk didn't come in right away, and I don't know if that's what played a factor in her losing the those two puppies. Nope. I'm gonna give you just one more, but then that's it. Because they didn't get that milk, the first serum. But so Icarus actually, we had Daisy in her separation, her safety area with the crate and the pen, and Icarus kept trying to jump over. She did actually comes, and I was like, oh my god, you can't be doing that, man. And she was like, and I was like, and so actually, Icarus. I woke up to Icarus in there, and Icarus actually what she was doing was she was feeding Daisy's puppies for her because Daisy couldn't because there was no milk. And I didn't know that because I was letting her rest, and I had I had her set up over there, and I thought that she's that you should just give her a night to at least unwind, and there wasn't really much that I needed to do other than give her make sure she had food and water, but I didn't need to do a whole bunch of touching her because she had the brand new puppies. And Icarus is like, there's Icarus, boom. And so, but no, she was feeding the puppies for her. And Daisy was, very grateful. And so Daisy actually got really sick. I mean, she got really sick there. And so we had taken her to the doctor, and then she was, she had the zoo strep and she was on medication. So we had to have her isolated. And I didn't want the puppies to get sick. And so we had the puppies in an incubator, actually. Thank you to my brother. My brother had made me an incubator. And so, I was like, well, they need the breast milk, but I have to give them the formula. No, Icarus was right. We had the formula, but Icarus was like right there, like, hey, I got this. And you can see that the milk does a body good because that baby girl and that baby boy, they are big, they are beautiful, they are intelligent, they are amazing, and they are going to make amazing pets one day. I'm hoping that we can find them homes, but I'm not going to rush into it and just, they're all amazing. And especially the longer that I'm in this, learning how a lot of, it's a possibility that they can always end up back at the original shelter. I will die before I let any of these dogs end up in a place where they are going to be, hi, those ears, dude. I mean, those freaking ears, possibly euthanized for space, because my space is their space. And that's why we're trying to get a bigger space so that way we can be in compliance with town ordinance and not be, hated by our town and our neighbors. But the truth is that I gotta show you. Let me see. There she is. I love you. I know. I'm gonna get off this because I'm gonna go play with this puppy. You want them? Okay, here. You can have them. Oh my goodness, heaven. Ah. Oh, her. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Mm-hmm. Sorry. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off this. I got puppy duty, and we got some walks to get going, but I'll be back on later. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.